Hello. Cool. Tosh just texted me and said that she's on her way. Oh. But I think you are.
Hi,
on the way.
Good, thank you.
I'd like to call to order the Breckenridge Social Equity and Advisory Commission meeting for May 20th. I'd like to start with roll call. For if you wouldn't mind, or I can. Morning, Joe Twan.
Oh, you want me to?
If you don't mind, if not, I can.
Great to see you. Oh.
But it's, we'll fit.
All right, June Walters,
Present.
Lori Morocco, Jotuan Daniels,
Present.
Greer,
Our way.
Ray, Jordan, Burns,
Here.
Carol Simons.
Osade, absent, Sylvia Vicuna,
Present.
Isaura Carrillo,
I think she's on her way.
Well, and then we have the discussion / approval of the agenda. A motion to approve.
I move to approve our agenda.
And
Second it.
a second from Lori. Perfect. So an approval from June and a second from Lori. And then the discussion and approval of the minutes from April. Motion to approve.
I wasn't here.
Motion to approve.
Yeah. I was like, I was here for that one.
And then the second, I don't know, Sylvia or Joe Twan.
I'll second it.
And then I just wanted to talk about our communication and then the subcommittee attendance expectations. I know that we did not put in our bylaws to have attendance taken at our subcommittee meetings, but it is an expectation and a hope that when we do schedule those, if there is any opposition to the times, that it's made known. Just so that we can continue to have a deeper discussion in those meetings to continue pushing forward with a lot of the things on our agenda. So that way we're not talking about things multiple times once we get to our bigger meetings, because a lot of those issues may have been discussed already in our subcommittee meetings. And then with communication, it's mostly through email currently. So just getting back to Flor in a reasonable time frame within a few days, so that way she can continue working on the things that she needs to do to keep us prepared. Cool.
I agree. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, so hopefully we can all get on the same page with that and continue pushing forward, so that way we can continue doing all of the wonderful things that we want to do with this group. And then we'll go on to staff summary. If Scott's ready.
I'm ready.
Or Flor. Thanks, Shannon.
Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I can start with it as well.
Yeah.
I think the first
Really,
point.
I really just said, are there any questions y'all have from regarding the yeah, it's wrong. Sorry about the staff summary items. Anything on there that it's a pocket talk.
Yes. Talk it on.
Y'all see the pocket talk.
I loved the comments and feedback with that, and the departments that are using it seem to really enjoy it. I did see that the police department was looking at purchasing several more units. I think that's really great, that the communication within our community is getting better. And I think there was one instance too where there was an hour-long conversation at the Welcome Center. And that's just beautiful to see, because like those instances wouldn't have happened without these devices. Or, you know, they wouldn't have meant as much to that staff member, because it would have been a conversation they would have had to turn away to someone who spoke Spanish. So to open the door for more people to have more conversations with more of our community, I think is really awesome. And I think that'll really help us start to grow to know that those opportunities are available. And I think even if we could just kind of push this and maybe even encourage more places to have those devices, I think it would be really great. And then I think it'll.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Have you heard any plus deltas, I guess, areas of improvement or issues with those sorts of devices? We've actually bought a couple for the college, and we're starting to utilize those at our front desks. And yeah, I'm pretty sure today, ESL registration night is today, so I'm sure we'll be using that quite a bit at both campuses. But I was just wondering if you had heard anything in the community in terms of issues with those devices or areas that they could be better.
The only thing that I haven't heard anything personally from anyone. This document was the first that I had heard any feedback on the Pocket Top devices. So I did not know anyone who's used them directly outside of.
We found out that you do have to charge them continuously.
Consistently?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they will turn off and then you have to use them and they're out of battery. And the other thing is you also sometimes the SIM card disconnects. So you either have to connect it to Wi-Fi, which is a little quicker, or you have to do a reset. So if it gives you an error that your SIM card's not working and it'll not work, you can just connect to the network for the time being. Or you could also do a reset and it'll just reset to its SIM card. So that's one thing that we noticed. Another thing is you do have to give it sometimes full sentences work a little bit better, just because that helps it kind of put things into context. And we were testing it, and it's not 100% accurate. There are some things, but it's really great because you get the point across. Like it's not like random things that what you tried to say. No, it really, it's good.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
The next, unless y'all have more to say, the other thing we just wanted, Flora and I had a really fruitful and lengthy conversation with Melissa, Monica from the Equity Project. Just they are eager to hear the progress that's been made here in the town of Breckenridge and the work that they've put forth and kind of helped us establish. It was 45 minutes. It was a good long conversation. And I know you all mentioned that you might seek some additional training from the Equity Project and kind of a revisit, if you would. She was very open to whatever you all would like and anything specific that you might want to get training in. And so that was really the question here under staff summary was, is there anything that you all specifically would seek? I mean, they're very ready to step in and help on our time frame, your time frame. But ultimately they felt like they could bring more value to help us further what we're trying to accomplish here. But also they were incredibly proud. And Monica, and this is speaking for everyone at the Equity Project, that the work that's been done here and the consistency and the talent that we have on this this commission was remarkable to them. So kudos. And is there anything that you all would specifically like with regard to training from the Equity Project?
Do they have like a menu or a website of things that they talk on? Because maybe if they specialize in a particular area and we see a good fit, because I could name probably 100 things, but I'm curious what their specialty is, or do they have a website?
They do.
Okay,
Very lengthy
I'll go
website,
on it
very
and see if there's
extensive website.
anything, or maybe they could.
Yeah, I think they were looking for where do we think we are, like in terms of where are we on the progression of where we want to get and what would be helpful at this moment. So it's really, certainly they have a lot of offerings, a lot of options. And if there's something that you all want to drill into specifically, I think they could craft it to our needs.
I definitely think there's things I want to learn specifically.
Good morning.
I definitely think there's things I want to learn specifically, but I'll have to put that in an email. As of right now, I can't like grasp it off the top of my head, but definitely.
And we can vet some of that too. We can work on drafting some of that and bring it to y'all at the next meeting if that's helpful.
I guess if anyone has any specific topics or questions, if we could get those to Flora by the end of the week.
Or maybe even things that like the people that originally took that training, like anything that you really liked about it or anything that you thought was powerful for the rest of us to learn, that people haven't done this, so I think that
I
would
think
be
the
a great
original training
refresher.
should be something we should do again. Like for everybody and me. Mhm.
That would be a good start, because every time we talk about this, I have no idea, just because I wasn't here then.
Yes.
And a lot of us, I don't. just
I think it was
you?
just us that were here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so maybe we start from there,
that's
square
great.
one.
Yeah. Mhm.
And we do that
Great
kind of.
suggestion, Lori.
And I think if we want to bring in all of our topics across this week, and then push the actual training back until we introduce our new member. That way they'll be caught up as well and then not in the
Yeah,
dark.
let's wait for them.
They're gonna be
Great.
sitting.
The majority of us have not. been
I
part of that.
didn't. It was just the three of us.
Mhm. 3 amigas.
Amigas. Thank you. And I'll just run through the next couple ones. One is the Ute history. We as a town have been trying to find ways to kind of bring in land acknowledgements, certainly from what we've been doing, but also tapping into some of the existing resources that reflect the Ute time and continuing here in this valley. And Ernest House is someone who works and has offered to, or is interested in helping us collectively figure out ways to get more input and understanding in that regard. And I was wondering personally if it's worth scheduling Mr. House to come to our to one of these meetings in the coming months to talk about those things, and specifically what would be of interest to you all in terms of content, or what would you ask him to address specifically if you have anything in mind?
Did anyone get to the Ute presentation at the Welcome Center on April 27th? It was pretty good. And Breckenridge History is trying to work also with the tribal council, which changes every year. I think that if we can get Ernest to come in, that would be grand, but I think it might be a difficult undertaking. What we have heard in working with, trying to work with a representative from the Ute Council, the Ute Mountain Ute Council, is they are overwhelmed with requests from people who are looking to the tribal council to give us a land acknowledgement. And it's hard to create an acknowledgement if you are not from that if that's not your field of reference. And let me cut it short. It would be great if we could get Ernest in here.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't want them to feel overwhelmed, and I don't want them to feel as though we're trying to tokenize them as a resource.
There's going to be another presentation in Frisco this summer by Nina from Aspen Historical Society and Skylar, who is the presenter. That'll be a good one. I'll keep up on that and let everyone know.
Please do, June. Please do. Appreciate it. So Ernest might be difficult to get.
Yeah, Ernest is, what is his title? He's on the governor's commission, and he does have a condo up here, I think in Keystone. So, if we could find a time when he's going to be here, if he could just hang over for a Monday morning.
But I understand he is, his title, his professional title at the Keystone Policy Center is the policy director for the Center for Tribal and Indigenous Engagement. So I think, part of his goal, at least, is to find ways to engage. So even if he was to say, well, I can't
Yeah.
make it, but I could certainly find other ways to engage. I think that's what we're seeking. I think
Yeah.
the term
He's
engagement is
all
probably
over
right.
the state all the time.
Okay, we will do some work on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess even if not possible to be in front of all of us, maybe for one of our subcommittees,
Meet with them.
we can kind of try and find.
Yeah, and I think I'll send a link to a YouTube presentation that he did. I can't remember where it was, but it will give you an idea of, his sentiment about being called upon for,
Mm-hmm.
so many DEI organizations. And a little bit of his background too.
And that'll help us be more direct with our ask of him, and not just having him in front of us and not really know where we
Mhm.
would need his help the most.
Mhm.
I believe June is the most familiar with him at the moment. I myself am not.
Right, and it may be, like you said, it may be a tough ask for Ernest per se, but it may be that he says, "Oh, here's someone else whose role may do this and represent this way." So it may be
Mhm.
helpful. June, can Fleur and I work with you on that? Potentially, you
Of
reach out to-
course.
Okay, wonderful.
I would suggest that you probably, from Breckenridge History, work with Larissa O'Neill
So,
and Chrisanne Kanish. Larissa is our executive director. Chrisanne is our archivist. And they have met with Ernest within the past month timeframe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. One other quick update, and that is the American with Disabilities Act public outreach. So we, the town of Breckenridge, have commissioned essentially an evaluation of all of our facilities and all of our locations. You can probably imagine that's pretty extensive.
Intensive, yeah.
Yeah, it includes programs, it includes our services, it includes our facilities. And so we've paid a third party, Blue Accessibility out of Colorado Springs, to do that work for us. We as staff have been working on that, what amounts to a giant spreadsheet of different things that we need to repair. And one of the elements of that analysis is to do public outreach. And part of that we will have a booth at both town cleanup as well as town party. And there'll be some public surveys going out there as well. So wanted you all to be aware of that and the work that we are doing. The time frame on completing all of the ADA improvements is extensive. It's going to take a long time. Even just looking at the streets and the rights of way is a monumental task. So what we are doing as staff is working really hard on some of the things that are low hanging fruit, the easier things to kind of do that we can do in house. Come budget season, which is coming up on us here, we'll start budgeting for kind of high priority things that need to get done quickly. But we're looking at a time frame of probably 10 years at a minimum to start for some of this stuff. So mostly we wanted to let you all know that conversation has occurred at town council. So town council is aware of the work that's been going on. We want you all to be aware of that work. And if you have specific questions, we can certainly bring our ADA. We have a subset sort of subcommittee within the town staff that really works on ADA stuff consistently, and we can certainly bring them to you all. Bottom line is we are doing everything we can to, I think we already are fairly accessible as a community. We try really hard to be welcoming in every place we can, but that doesn't mean the physical environment necessarily is perfect, and that's what we need to be really working on. And certainly our services and our programs, that's when we just need to change our mentality and make sure that we are always considering these folks and considering people with disabilities to gain access to all the things that we offer. So I think it's been a good lesson for everyone on the staff level, and the work will continue for a long time. So that was mostly just an FYI for y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate that update, Scott. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just to tie into that too. The BTO did trivia at Broken Compass last week, and that was one of their questions. And they talked about like the Reeling Dredge Trail, and how that got opened up more for ADA access, and that's really cool. And I look forward to more projects like that in the future to give more access to the cooler and just more of the environment here in Summit, especially Breck. And speaking of BTO, we're going to go on to our presenter for today, Miss Melissa Andrews, the PR director for the BTO. Hello again.
Good morning,
Good,
Melissa.
how are you?
Hello.
Thanks so much for having me today. Hope you're all doing well. I am here on behalf of the whole team at the BTO as we lead up to our 10 Mile Pride event, as well as really just trying to keep that ongoing connection between our teams. And so we're looking really good for 10 Mile Pride. I believe the last time I was here, we were pretty high level with our updates, simply letting you know that, of course, the event was happening. We're making great progress. And since then, I'll let you know that we have our headliners and our performers all locked in. We have some really fun headliners who are two drag queens who are performing as Taylor Swift and Janet Jackson. So really fun, family friendly, and it's going to be a great time. Speaking of trivia, we of course have a Pride trivia night with Rowdy Alley at RMU. And then we'll have our art opening and of course the community gathering on Saturday, June 15th. So speaking of the community gathering, I think we really wanted to touch base with you all around just making sure we're on the same page about the town presence there. So ensuring we have land acknowledgement, hopefully from someone at the town or the BSEAC, as well as maybe giving consideration to a history acknowledgement. And that was kind of something I was pondering based on your comments, June. So I guess I'll maybe open it up there in terms of who can we expect to see at the event? Is there any interest from someone at the town to speak on the land acknowledgement? And what do you think about the idea of perhaps a gay history in Breckenridge acknowledgement?
Well,
Wait.
Expertise, Ms. Waters.
As far as presence goes, unfortunately, I am out of town during Pride Week. Yeah, I am out of town during Pride Week. What we did, what we have used in other town events with our former liaison was we used the Breckenridge History Land acknowledgement in some things. I don't know if I sent that to you or not.
We've got that one on hand because I
Okay.
know we do that at
Alright.
most BTO events now.
So while I would love to be there as a surrogate mom, grandma, aunt, sister, and land acknowledgement reader, I will not be able to do that. So I will leave that up to the rest of you. I don't think that we will have an overall land acknowledgement compiled with the help of Ernest by Pride Week. And then as far as the gay history of Breckenridge, we don't have one until modern times, because if you consider the era of Breckenridge from the settlement of our miners, which was the establishment of the town, we don't have one. That was a very private position taken by anyone because the penalties were harsh. They were severe. We do have the history of the bunkhouse, which is interesting, and perhaps we could include the former or the current owner of the bunkhouse to give a history of the bunkhouse, how that was established and how it grew to be the safe spot, and reiterate our position, the commission's position, that we want to create a better democratic community where everyone can live, play, love, work, enjoy each other. But, you know, as far as connecting it to a more distant history of our past, there is none.
Right.
And I want to be very sensitive to the people who were purported to be, in quotes, companions, and never say that again. It is not our position to out anybody. So that's my input, and I'm sticking with it. Or were you looking for anything different?
I think that covers it. You know, when I think about the fact that at many events, we acknowledge that we're on historic
Right.
lands of the Ute people. I guess my question was, is there any acknowledgement that we should say, perhaps indicating what you are saying, that for so much of Breckenridge's history, the people who were queer at that time could not live their lives to the fullest. And we are so proud of the progress we've made to now have celebrations, or at least opportunities for anyone who wishes to participate that way. I guess that was kind of my question, is that an appropriate thing for us to consider? And if so, would we turn to Breck history to work together on that? And maybe it's not something for this year. Maybe it's something
Right.
we want to give more time to. But I guess that was kind of the consideration and the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're lacking
Mhm.
in the history in any of our
Yeah.
collections. So I'm sorry, we're gonna have to fail you on that point. But our modern history is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, the bunkhouse, Amendment 2,
Yep.
Colorado being known as the hate state. And sadly, Breckenridge was not on the list of communities that said, no, wait a second. You know, I know you voted in this amendment too, but we as a town, I don't believe took a position on that. So, you know, that's the only history really we have here.
Yeah.
Besides our initiation of our Pride celebration.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, that's modern history, which is a little past our scope for the time being.
Sure. Okay.
So I like that you're giving us time to work on it for next year. And you know, if the rest of the board feels we need an acknowledgement of our history for Pride Week 2025, you know, I don't want to be the only.
I feel like it would be rushed to try to get that history along for this event. However, just listening to you speak though, June, like I kind of appreciated having that understanding of why we have a gap in our history. And I don't know if we as a commission would be okay with maybe just acknowledging that simple fact at this one, knowing that perhaps we would then be able to have more time so that when we revisit Pride Week next year, perhaps we can give a little bit more fuller context in terms of this is who we were from our mining history. However, this is who we are in 2025. I think that would be an awesome approach to it. But I do think maybe just that notion of, yeah, like our history didn't really allow for this to be celebrated back in that time.
Breckenridge history, that
It's
is
right,
global.
Mountain West.
Yeah, the world history. I agree. I think that it would be rushed if we tried to do something very specific. I think it'd be cool maybe if we just tied in Breck history in general to be there. And then if people do inquire and go up to their booth or table, or I don't know, them in general, and they do have questions about the LGBTQIA community and the history of it in Breckenridge, they can enlighten them. I think it would be important to do a land acknowledgement. I'll be there, by the way. I think it's important to do a land acknowledgement. I don't know who would be the best qualified to read that or present that, or if it's something that we can just have as like, that's just like maybe up in the entrance so that people can stop and read the land acknowledgement or read and understand why, whatever. But yeah, just different ideas to help get that generated, but I'll be there.
Awesome.
And I support the acknowledgement.
Okay.
Thank
And you're a great presenter.
you.
Have we seen like an agenda for Pride Week per se? I'm desperately trying to find it and
Oh.
I'm emailed out right now and I don't have anything organized properly.
I would
I'm
say
just trying to make sure I can attend as much as
10milepride.com
possible.
is the
Is
best
the
bet.
agenda.
Yeah, we keep that up to date as things get locked in and everything's
Yeah.
locked in now.
Or Instagram.
I was gonna say the Instagram
Easy.
too is really popping off now that we're getting close. Yep.
Yeah, I think if for this event being so close, if we wanted to stay like more future forward and talk about how we want to continue the progression of the town and being welcoming for everyone, and then maybe next year focus more on developing the history of it with a bit more time. I think we could do a really good job with that. And because I know like we've always talked about like just making sure town is welcoming and everyone wants to be here and everyone can feel safe and enjoy the outdoors or to whatever they want to be here for, because this place is so beautiful and we all want it to be welcoming for everyone who wants to come to Breckenridge. It's a name that's well known across the world, and you never want it, at least in this point in time, for myself, and I think the rest of us, we don't want it to be known for anything outside of being a beautiful place and incredibly welcoming,
Safe.
and safe
Safe.
and
Yeah.
safe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The key to, opening the bunkhouse.
Yeah.
And then open was, two words that come to mind in the progression of, our modern history that we're making today.
To plug in a little bit more, two things. I was thinking, I know last year we did a little bit of like a like we had people come up and speak, and like some of the high schoolers came. I got up there and just was like, hi, thanks. The mayor did. So maybe even having someone on town council or the mayor or something read that acknowledgement would be a little bit more, what's the word? Impactful. Yeah.
Carry more weight.
Although I'm not trying to deviate from the responsibility, I could totally do it. But maybe use someone like, mayor or something, Kelly, that would be awesome, again. And then I would love to know if there's any volunteer opportunities for the event itself, because I volunteered last year and I loved it. So if there are resources for that you could send, whether it be a sign up sheet or something, I would love to sign up and then share it with the community as well, how I can.
Perfect. We do have space carved into the agenda for a member of the town to speak. I believe Mayor Kelly is away, and so she is going to have to defer to somebody else on the town. So we'll definitely, I think we've been, Majay and Sarah kind of have been running this event. I think they're still waiting on the final name from the town. And then absolutely we can touch base on volunteer opportunities. And really, I would say we're happy to carve space for the more the merrier from our town and councils and committees to speak. And so if you feel called, just let us know. Cool. And then I think as another update, as part of this event, I mentioned last time that we were putting together a small press trip, and I'm pleased to share that it's not so small anymore. We have 4 members of the media from prominent LGBTQ magazines coming to Breckenridge.
Yay.
They're going to spend 4 days here experiencing the event and the destination to not only see that we're doing this event and that it's going to be fun, but also see the destination and write about it as a whole. So that way they can be that line of communication to LGBTQ travelers that we're here and we're open and welcoming. So all that being said, a lot of that press trip is building out an itinerary that can help to showcase some of those best facets of our beautiful, wonderful outdoor recreation and welcoming community. a big part of it is going to the Bunkhouse Lodge.
Mhm.
We're going to do a afternoon happy hour hangout
It's
at the
fabulous.
bunkhouse with Mitch. He's so excited.
Uh-huh.
And so I know he's pretty well versed, at least in the bunkhouse history, but I think really in Breckenridge history as a
Yeah.
whole. I would say our job with this press trip is not to spin things by any means. We're gonna allow Mitch to certainly speak as he knows it, and excuse me, knows our history. And so he's great. So I'm so excited. I'm gonna go chat with him later today too. And so I think my final ask for this group is just if you have any ideas around what elements of our town you would love to highlight for
Mhm.
this group, or any community members who are out, vocal, and I think would be excited to interact with media. By no means am I saying, anyone from the gay community should just be on this press trip. But if you do know of members of our community who would be really interested in showcasing the destination, I always welcome community members to come alongside me on press trips and hang out with our media.
When is their time frame? When are they going to be here?
They get in on Thursday, June 13th, and then they stay through Sunday, June 16th.
Yeah.
I would love to speak with them. I also, what was I going to say? I had a thought in my head and
Uh-huh.
it just went away.
Yeah.
Sorry, come back to me.
If they'd be interested, they might enjoy a afternoon, a happy hour tour on the darker side of Breckenridge history, which
The
is
body Breckenridge.
the brothels and the yes, we had to change the name because
What?
every time we said our body Breckenridge tour, they said body Brecken. What is that? So it is now the tour through the darker side, and it's brothels and beverages and the saloon history that might be fun to do. We would of course do it for the private group, and
Mhm.
because that tour is on Tuesday afternoon. So I could see if I can line someone up for that. Anything if they want an overall history of Breckenridge, let us know, and we can see if we have such a staffing problem right now, but we can see if we can help them have some fun in regular old Breckenridge history. Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say. I was just going to say thank you. Sorry, I forgot about that. Thank you for all the work that you've done. It seems like you really put a lot into it, and you've gotten results. So I really appreciate that. And it's a big accomplishment to have all these resources come. So thank you and great job.
Awesome. You're
Mhm.
welcome.
Mhm.
I also just want to add, I was in Aspen for their gay ski week,
Mhm.
and it was an event. I mean, they had influencers, and the energy was so good. And I see they have a website, Gay Ski Week, and I don't know who the influencers were, but I mean, it was so much fun and so much energy. So, and they had a ton of sponsors. I don't know if we have sponsors or.
I think that considering this is year 2 and we're
Mhm.
still a community event,
Yeah.
going the route of sponsorship and major paid influencers isn't really within the scope of this year.
Yeah.
But that's why we're working on our 5-year visioning plan to really work with Dean Nelson, who does, the Whistler Gay Ski Week. He's doing these global events of that caliber. And so we're working with him on that visioning plan to about what it could look like. Because of course, to do something of the Aspen level needs Aspen level funding. So we'll have to work through the process of getting there. And for this year, I think we're really stoked with the caliber of our drag performers who really kind of serve as ambassadors to that community and influencers in that sense. And then getting traditional media coverage is fantastic because that's a much lower cost option than a big influencer.
Is it my understanding that 2 of the performers are from RuPaul's Drag Race?
Yes. At least 2. I think
Yeah.
they're good. Every now and then you discover like, oh, they were on season 2 or who
Yeah.
knew? Mhm.
Mhm.
I think at the end of it all, if we could just implore them to come back
Yeah.
and to let them know that it's not just this month that we're doing all of these things and that everyone is welcome here all the time. And there are places in town that never take down pride flags and, you know, that we want to be welcoming and safe and have this place be available. And it's, you know, we're not like putting on a show just for the month and trying to goose things up and make it look better while they're here, and that our community, that our community does really care about everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. And I think that's why it feels good knowing that this is coming from the space of being a community event. And any growth that happens from there is going to be because we're seeing that sparked and led within the community. Yeah.
awesome.
I think that's all I have for Pride updates. In terms of just other marketing and BTO follow-ups and questions, I know last time you did ask about just kind of our marketing mix and who we're reaching, and we said we'd get back to you. So when asking about, working with my team and asking about specific states that we market to, which I think was your question, the answer is we don't. So we market based more on persona and go through digital media networks to have our ads placed in spaces that make sense for those groups. And so we look at families that include multi-generations. We look at the Cheers We Earned It segment. So folks who are kind of the young adult age and probably going out on big adventures and then having a beer, a nice mocktail back in town. And the retired but not tired segment. So active older adults. Excuse me. So I wanted to make sure you know that the only geographic segmenting we do is excluding Colorado. So that way our funds are going to out of state individuals who are more likely to come in for an overnight multi-day stay. So I wanted to give you an answer on that. And then really just follow up on the fact that as a team, we are always looking within our local community to source models for our media assets. And we'd really love to work with you on helping to build out that network and maybe meet some people who we haven't before and invite them to tap into this opportunity. As you've mentioned, it's so much fun to showcase our local tapestry of our community. And so I think fostering that connection through the SCAC feels like a really great way for us to keep expanding that network.
Yeah, and like I've modeled for the BTO on a few times before, and when they put out their call, like it is a really fun experience. So if anyone else on the commission has time and availability, it's always great. And I know like those with families, that's always a big one as well. So if you guys ever have time or see any of their calls for models, it is a really fun day. It's always, you're laughing, you're smiling, you're sometimes getting to experience some of the newer businesses in town that you don't always get the time to go to, or just the experiences in town that you might not get a chance to do just with work and everything else. So if you can kind of take the time off.
Yeah, it's usually like a half day photo shoot if you can fit that into your work schedule, so to speak, but our marketing team also works through Saturdays. And so that really kind of opens it up nicely as well to be able to not have to take off of work if you want to be a model.
So when's y'all's next call? Excuse me, Taj.
No, yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, when is y'all's next call for support with this sort of marketing?
Great question. I think our next big video shoot has a local family lined up. But summertime is where we do the bulk of our photo and video shoots. And so I'll get you a date for the next one, but we're really flexible for when we do it. It's kind of a give and take of saying, okay, this family's got availability these days and this videographer does too. And so we'll work with you. I think for us, having that kind of list of who to make the email call to is really the starting point. And so I'd love to sort of sit down or just email back and forth and maybe chat through it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is where to find the call.
Yeah, we do kind of outbound. So if we have the names, then we'll reach out from there.
Gotcha.
Yep.
You can put me down as a name.
Yeah, you can. I'll ask a couple of my friends too to send their emails as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you wanted with the next one, just to send it to Flo and
Yeah.
she'll to send it to us. And so now we've got some great families and
Yeah.
A beautiful thing. Of course we do.
particularly if you would like to invite your parents, it's that multi-generation that's so hard to find. And so something to keep in mind too, if you have a set of, the grandparent, parent, and children that you know of, I think that would be so, so valuable for us.
My mom will be here in a couple weeks. She doesn't live here, but she's a model.
That's great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any other questions that you all have been pondering for the BTO that I can either help with or bring back to the team?
No, again, thank you a lot. Like, thank you so much. You've done a lot of work and we really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
So
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And do we have next will be a review of our Pride proclamation coming up for next month.
Yeah, we just kind of want to know if you, I hope you guys got a chance to read through it. We basically just changed the 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 year and the mayor Kelly Owens now. But it's the same as last year. We didn't know if I didn't get any feedback on wanting changes or anything. So we're hoping if it's good to go, would you approve to move forward or do you have any changes?
I probably should have responded. My bad, Floor. I didn't see any issues with the declaration and I just didn't respond to the email. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Wait.
nor did I.
No, I think it's fine.
And I think like as we continue to host these Pride events, maybe we'll get more community feedback of like, hey, let's change this, that, XYZ. But I personally didn't see anything from, my point of view.
And I think we'll move forward with it.
Can we get one of a formal copy of the Pride Month proclamation and frame it and put it somewhere?
I like that.
So it's not just this document that's going to be put away. Let's do some action.
Yes, I think we can get it framed.
I don't know where we'd put it. It's
Welcome
not like
center?
we have a
The welcome center?
clubhouse or anything,
Okay.
but
It's a fantastic place for the declaration to go.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely somewhere where everyone can
others.
see it.
Yeah, and it's something that the BTO can share as well, or just show and acknowledge that the town is committed to the.
I'm so glad you
Right.
stayed, Melissa.
Thank you.
Perfect. We'll work on that. Mm,
And then,
Equity
yeah, we've
discussion, the subcommittee.
so much progress on this since our initial discussion on doing a grant and being able to help more in our community and provide some financial assistance to nonprofits. And I'm so thankful for all of you who've been working on this because I would not be any help. So it is listed in the packet this month and it goes through, I guess, does anybody who's worked on it want to speak more about it? Because mine's just from.
Just that it's been a long time in the making,
Mhm.
and I think we whittled it down to making it an easy process, fair. We don't know because we've never gone through it, but this is kind of what we think would be a good start. And then, of course, we can always amend it or
Tweak it as we.
change it as we see, but I think we try to think of everything, but would love any feedback or comments.
I really wanted to make it as streamlined and as transparent as possible.
Right.
Yeah, I loved the points system and helping with review it for yourselves and ourselves as a group. hopefully that'll make things a bit more direct so that everyone can kind of understand how the points are earned. Um,
We, you know, we have a lot of, I can't think of the word, I just thought, but you know, when it comes to reviewing these, I think it's gonna be really important to not have biases or to not want to just, I'm nervous about that part, but
You got me on teacher hat, put your teacher hat on. Just score,
I
score the
know,
rubric.
like a blind review,
Yep, just score
but
the
we're gonna
rubric.
know.
Score the rubric.
But I think well, it'll just be interesting to see. We don't want the same organization to keep getting it year
Yeah.
after year. We want to spread the love and. But this is step one.
Yeah.
it'll help with, I think it'll help increase the diversity of efforts and to the ability to be able to hire translation
Yeah.
for events and just because if it could be hard for whatever the budget is for the event, but to know that there's potential grant money to help with that part of the diversity efforts and outreach. And to then use some of our channels as well that we've been developing, I think are great. And I think, I always want to be an advocate and an outlet for things going on in our community and to be available. So if we can help financially, I think it's great. But I mean, even if it's just sharing again through our channels and through the BTO and making all of that more possible and to grow grow more things in our community that may just be from small community efforts. I think, we want to be the microphone as we've discussed in the past and make everything loud and big and welcoming, loving and safe for our community.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, we never talked about it as well, but depending on the event like this, grant money could be used to help with safety and all those other things that we don't always talk about. So
Totally.
great job, everyone who's worked on this. You've done such an amazing job. And I can't wait to get it out there and get it going. I know that we talked about sharing it within our groups to start and then kind of rolling it out bigger from there. And I think that's a great idea, just to not be too overwhelmed and to learn how the grading system will work and be able to make any tweaks and to continue to be helpful in a small effort to start, but in the bigger efforts that we want to in the future. I think.
When are we, when does this go live or is it, or?
Whenever you want.
I'm nervous.
So
Are we going to market it? Did we decide?
I believe we decided in our civic engagement, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren Jatwan, but we were gonna do it through social media and word of mouth first to then get our first grant and then be able to submit for some daily article and then we can
Go from there.
expand it even more, do a even bigger social media, even bigger community.
Great idea.
That way we have an example.
When we have the social media post, if you could send it, or I follow, but then we should all just be resharing it out.
Like a screenshot post on our story, like something
Yeah,
we
or
can
just
all
like a
post.
reshare from, if there's like a town.
Page or something.
And then we also wanted to put this on the website, right? That's where they'll apply. Do we want to keep this, the grant fund tracking public or just to?
I don't think, I don't think it should be public.
That's more for us, right? is
Yeah,
to
yeah,
understand,
that's
like,
I
who's
think
been-
that's,
Who's been getting the funds?
Publicly accessible upon request.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I don't know if we want to see the grades that we're given.
no, I think it should be an internal document, but
Yes.
when an application is granted or processed, we could do a press release or a summary of how the program went upon its initiation, but I think this should be
Confidential.
an internal document.
I think so too, because we're showing money and scores. and-
Yeah.
If we did kind of like a yearly recap on the parts of our community that we've helped
Yeah,
or
mhm.
I do
maybe
Go ahead, sorry, I cut you off.
I was gonna say, I think like quarterly or like might be too small of a like group. Cause like it is gonna take us some time to
Mhm.
grade and to figure out like how much we could give any group. So if we did it on the yearly basis, then that'd be a good way to,
Like publish it.
yeah, just to say like, these are parts of our community that we helped across the year and encourage more people to apply in the following
Mhm.
year
Mhm.
as well. Just because
Yeah.
if it, I just don't want it to be too much at once because we do have a finite amount of money that we can use to help and across the year. Even if we don't spend all of it, we don't have to say that, but we can encourage, be like, oh, we had
Right.
10 groups
Building and growing,
apply
yeah.
across the year. And,
Yeah.
and these are the events we were able to help at. If you attended any of those, we welcome and encourage you to attend more community thrown events across the following year through these groups. Or if you also know or have any nonprofits that you're involved with that would like to do anything along these lines as well, we encourage you to apply for a grant also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it should be public, but I do think it should be accessible upon request for whatever.
But is there any confidentiality and
Probably.
proprietary information? Like somebody wants an
Yes.
event and then someone's like, oh, I'm gonna do that event. Because I'm thinking teacher mode, like we never
Yeah.
release everybody's
So in
grades.
my head, this would be my grade book.
Yeah, same.
Right?
And you would
Like,
never
you know
share
what I'm
that
saying? I wouldn't
out.
share my grade book, but there are certain things in my grade book that I would share.
Sure.
And so that was my mindset
I
in terms
just
of making
don't
sure the
know.
rubric
Yeah.
was really clear
Yeah.
and accessible. So here
Oh,
we go.
hi.
All
right.
So I agree with you all that it shouldn't be public, and that's the way we handle our other
Right.
town grants is that we
Right.
don't put out who applied and what they,
Mhm.
you know, we do celebrate how much we've given out
Exactly.
and that and the organizations, but we also don't say like we didn't give money to whoever we
To
didn't give
XYZ.
money, right? And that
Yeah.
maybe you need to do X, Y, and Z next time to, right? And that's not that we don't support organizations, but just maybe their grant needs to be a little bit better. That said, really almost everything we have as a town in our
publicly
possession
accessible.
is subject to open
Yep.
records.
Publicly accessible. Yeah, Cora. Same thing as the school district. Yeah.
That's why.
Something like this is, I mean, you could take the score off if you,
Yeah, if you
knowing
wanted
that
to.
it could be requested and maybe you don't want to embarrass anyone.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think if someone requested the document,
We would have to give it
provide
to
it.
them.
Mhm.
Score column off if it's requested, or do we need to take it completely off the document?
I would, if you don't want
Take
it
it off the
out there,
document.
I would take it off. I don't think that's something we would redact. It's
But we would
It's for them internally.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, amongst us. Yeah.
I don't think for your tracking purposes, you necessarily need the score on there.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, you know, if someone's submitting a core request, who's to say why they maybe they might be curious or, you know, whatever. Or they have an organization that they want to see like, oh, who's been successful in applying and
Right.
receive, you know, it doesn't really, you know, whoever wants to use the information, sure.
Yep.
Why not?
Take it off just because that could be challenged in so many ways, and I don't know
Yeah.
legally. I don't know. I don't know, but it just seems.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you want
Oh, 100%, yeah.
a rubric matrix to help you make those decisions, but in the end, it can be approved or not approved.
Correct. Yeah. Mhm.
Right. So if that's helpful. Yeah.
We needed that.
So
That's another meeting that we need to have is with our town lawyer. So
It's funny you mentioned that. So to upcoming, yes, there will be, we are trying to find a date. It's likely in July at this point. We are welcoming all commissioners of all commissions to come and learn from
awesome.
a town attorney in terms of what the expectations are, what the norms are,
Good.
and so it'll be something, we'll pick a date and it'll be live, but it'll
Mhm.
also be recorded. So if you're unable to make that date, we strongly encourage certainly our chair and vice chair to attend, but anyone is welcome and we will have it available as well. So you can watch it at your leisure and
Yeah.
hopefully learn kind of what
you.
the standards are. I'm trying to,
It's updated on those
Great.
dates.
likely in early July is what we're looking
Love them.
at. We good on grants?
Yeah.
have an update on our equity lens.
Yeah, so Brooke and I wanted to make some changes to it. We're not really sure where it landed, if it had been approved by you guys and it was good to go. Because in that case, we wanted to make some changes. We found a couple typos that we wanted to correct, and then we were thinking about changing the colors to maybe a blue scheme or something that gives a little bit more calming vibes. Just so it can be a hard topic to digest, and so it kind of gets people on a calmer note. Yeah, so we were wondering if we could do that. And then we're also going to take it to our internal DEI committee to see if they had any changes or anything else they wanted to add, since they will be a huge part of implementing and teaching it to our
Yeah.
organization. And so we just kind of wanted to get your approval on that and make sure that was okay.
Yeah, thanks for
Can you
changing those typos.
show us like the changes that will be happening, or once they're ready to be
Yes,
posted?
yep. Once we have it ready, we will email you guys so you guys can provide feedback, and then we'll bring it back to another meeting to show it to all of you, and then we could approve the
Yeah.
final version.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That's good.
And so our last round of subcommittee meetings, we talked about integrating celebrating diversity, community outreach engagement, and community education and influence into a group of meetings. So to spend an hour and a half and have 3 half-an-hour segments with all of those groups, because all of that seems to be so integrated with one another, and the output of it all kind of goes through the outreach and engagement subcommittee. So we thought that the meeting structure of celebrating diversity first, community influence and education second, and then the third half an hour would be the outreach and engagement. So that way we could go over the celebrating diversity and the diversity calendar that we have developed and decide what we want to do with that. Then talk about how that'll influence our community, how we can include community influence and then education around that celebrating diversity topic or any other topic of discussion that we had, and then work on what our output would be and how we can engage our community through what we thought would be best for those events, or just education, because that was one of the things we talked about, as well as not necessarily doing everything just based around the celebrating diversity calendar, but more just in like how we can educate our community as well, and the output that would come with that. I think that's a good synopsis. That meeting was really fun. Thank you, Sylvia and Lori, for being there. Let's see. This currently is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And we were gonna speak with June about how we wanted to celebrate that. If she had any ideas.
Floor
to put
and
on the spot.
Brooke and I are going to get together later today and figure out what we're gonna do. Not a video, I can tell you that.
And then an update from the Community Influence and Education Subcommittee is we just want to work on educating with facts about different communities in Breckenridge through social media posts. And then we just want to work together to like raise more awareness and review posts. And I think, oh yeah, then repush out our mission statement video. So we're not sure if everyone saw that. I know, because I guess we discussed that our video with Lori and I's video with SCTV did not go out. So maybe do something like that again in the future if Lori's down and Floor. That was really fun. Floor, it'll be good. We got you. It's only a little nervous being in front of the camera,
It's
but
fun.
Brad's awesome. He is really encouraging with it all. And then I know we've talked in the past about finding educational videos on DEI to be able to link to the public that we didn't necessarily produce. So just finding a good resource for that. I know Taj, your mom, was always mentioned as a really good resource.
Yeah, she'll actually be in town for next month's meeting. So if we want to put her on the agenda, just to give like a little overview of her skill set, the resources that she can provide, and then, if we have any things that we specifically want, we can always ask her. And yeah, but yeah, we can put her on, if you guys would like, we can put her on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah, and that could also be included as one of our requests for Monica to see if there are any access to DEI videos through the Equity Project. I know that we're one of the smaller communities that she works with, so some of them might be pretty overarching topics and not like as directly
Specific,
poignant.
Yeah.
But I think learning about any aspect of DEI, whether it's in a larger city or smaller community like
Yeah.
ours, is very important.
I also think she did a really good job. And again, it was just us three that kind of did that training, but I think she did a really good job of applying the data that she collected specifically for our town into the ideologies that she wants to push then for DEI specifically to Breckenridge. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, so I do think that, yeah, we're a smaller community, but I think they really did a good job at collecting specific data that's town specific, Breckenridge specific. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think any of that information has changed?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because it was in 2020, right? And so everything's changed since then. It's like the before and the after. So yeah, I definitely think that our efforts included have, evolved, changed along with other efforts.
I mean, for the people who doesn't have any idea, or like, for example, for me was so wide eye-opening, the so many stuff that I don't know, and I really don't have any education of, as you know, as an immigrant, and seeing things in different perspective. Like that, it helped a lot. And like I said, when I left the commission and when I came back, it is so much the commission has done that I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you guys. The how far are we right now? How we were at the beginning. So it's really
Well, you were
good.
part of that. So
Well, yeah, I was
give yourself a
thinking
pat on the
about
back. But yes, to answer your question, it's changed exponentially. So I think it would be awesome to then look at look back and see where we
Yeah, so
were.
that'd be another request would be like, can we do a comparison of what we started with, what it's
I like
looking
that.
now?
Yeah,
I
like
love
And
that.
how can we
No.
better that? Like, how
Mhm.
can we push some
Now
of
we're
those?
going
Yeah.
forward.
Stand like, I don't know, I
Snapshots
like to
and,
apply my own my own
Yeah.
life experience to the data. So it's important.
Yeah, I love that one.
Like we've seen quite a bit of that, like with your inclusion, Joe Twan and Sylvia, like you guys were taking your eyes to like our equity blueprint for the first time, and having questions. And I think that's so important because that was a document that like we had been so focused on for a few years that having new eyes on it was really important internally as well as externally with sharing it out. And like having our community gathering at the senior center a few months back and getting more questions on it and how we can help and how it can be effective for our community, I think is so important. So I think looking back on that and how we're going to take a look at the equity lens coming up here soon to figure out like our who or what or where or how, and when planning events and our why, when planning things in our community to make sure that anything that we plan and to be able to share out to our community partners for anything that they plan can be accessible for everyone, and make sure that we're asking the right questions for our community to make sure that we're doing things that everyone who does attend feels welcomed and and has the ability to enjoy it as anyone else would. And then that included our equity lens update. And for Pride Month, we're gonna have some educational posts on social media, and I assume share a lot of what the BTO has as well for those events coming up to make sure that everyone's kind of on the same page and seeing things in multiple places, because hopefully that'll help encourage people to make time in their schedules to go to some of these awesome things. Like I go to Rowdy Alley's trivia weekly. Um,
Rowdy
uh,
Alley.
yeah, she has an awesome crab car.
I've met
as
her. I
well.
just didn't
Yeah,
know her name was
she's-
Rowdy Alley. I love that.
She's amazing. A really good human.
Mhm.
So her pride trivia, I can't wait to see the questions that she has. And I know with the BTO how it'll include a lot of the things here in Breck as well. Because BTO's trivia last week was so eye-opening and so much fun to learn more about the town. And I can't wait till the next one because they're so much fun when you guys help host.
I wish I were allowed to participate.
We'll get you there next time, June. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Well, they won't let me.
Oh, because you know
Yeah,
all the
you know too
answers.
much.
Yeah, yeah. You can't cheat. I was like, who's excluding June? Oh,
She's on.
yeah, you know.
Well, they do hand out a bunch of awesome prizes, so maybe you can help out with that, June. I know that we can always find a spot for you.
Mhm. Maybe you could be like a celeb host.
Oh, you'll ask the bonus question if there's a
Yeah.
tie.
Oh, that would be
You can
good.
create
I
the
could
bonus
come up
question
with
too.
some
That'd be
good-
fun.
Sorry, Melissa, for. Um, Yeah, so I guess next we will move on to our Immigration Rights and Advocacy Subcommittee. I guess there will be a verbal update if they're prepared or.
So we met last Friday and we just did a summary to get Flora caught up with everything that we've been working on. We had Urania there and we had a guest come to our subcommittee as well, and just giving us more input of what our discussion was with Mountain Dreamers last time. And we after doing a little summary, we wanted to pick some of the things that we really want to start working on. And one of them was the recreation and access to programs at the rec center, and possibly creating new classes with Spanish directors or teachers. So that was really exciting to pick something out of the entire list that we had, because we had like a gazillion things that could be addressed, but picking one thing. So we decided that next time we're going to try to have the rec center come speak to our subcommittee and see how we can start working on all of these things. Another little task that I wouldn't say little, a big task that we took on is some of the feedback that was posted is that we want to start showing that we are all part of this community as immigrants. Like we make a big part of what is Summit County in general. I know we focus on the town of Breckenridge, but since we are having a lot of support from the Mountain Dreamers group, we wanted to create a video similar to our mission statement. Just having a lot of immigrants come in and say, hey, I am Summit.
Oh, nice.
So it would be like a really small description, like, hi, my name is Sylvia Vicuña. I am part of the Breckenridge Equity Social Advisory Commission, and this is what I'd love to do. I am Summit. And then other migrants can do the same, and just how everybody makes up this community and celebrate that. So that's something that we're really excited to start.
Yeah, Sylvia. Yeah, Sylvia. I love
We
it.
should do a block party.
We should.
We should also do that.
Yeah, so that's the big highlights of what our last meeting was about, and we're super excited to start working on these things.
Great ideas.
I love everything. I can't wait to see it all, and as always, let us know how we can help.
I mean, if we need any other participants to be part of the video, like we already have a vision. We were talking about subtitles and scripts, and so yeah, it's just a matter of getting people and scheduling it.
Perfect.
Because we will also allow them to speak in their native language.
I was just
so
about to
whenever
ask you that.
So they could do it in either one or whatever they feel comfortable with. And that adds to it, right? That we are all these multilingual people.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. And then next we have civic engagement, but I don't want to cut you all too short, but we did kind of talk about all of it already in our grant rollout.
Mhm.
With the last bit of discussion.
Mhm.
So if you're okay with
Okay.
skipping that, then cool,
Yep.
we'll continue on.
Keep it moving, Jordan.
And then we'll go on to upcoming council discussions. I guess we've also talked, if Scott wants to elaborate any more on the town council retreat, which will occur at Mountain Thunder Lodge between noon and 4:15.
Today?
Upcoming, nope, May 28th.
Sorry.
So that'll be set aside. Actually, BTO will be a fair bit, do a big presentation during that time to talk about a more welcoming message and how to make sure that the message that we distribute both as a community, but also in their advertising and the like and marketing is really focused on the town being a welcoming environment. So that's a big part of what we're discussing. And also some of the recent resident sentiment survey results that came in, which showed some people were not feeling as welcome as they were. So that was part of that response. Is important. And we're also going to talk a bit about, we're going to kind of revisit the destination management plan and the goals, the community goals that the town council kind of uses as targets for the coming session, if you will, or timeframe. And then lastly, discussing the runway housing development, which if you've heard it called Airport Road or Block 11 many times, and we're trying to move towards a different phrase now. Runway housing will be the name of the area there, essentially along behind Airport Road, or where the ski area currently has parking. That's where it is.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
On Block 11.
Why are there different names? Why are we?
So Block 11 was the name of the parcel.
Gotcha.
The airport piece, Airport Road, obviously there was never really an airport there, but there was a plan at one point. So the runway has kind of been taken as the name because
Because it was
Road is still there. And yeah, so that is what they're talking about is what that design will be like, or what council would like to see there. In general terms, it's going to be a number of single family homes with attached, or I should say detached accessory dwelling units, so ADUs. So there'll be kind of a primary home and then ADUs on the back, and figuring out how to put as many units in there as possible to serve the community at large. And it'll be town led in terms of design and construction is the plan. And as I understand, they'll be for sale units. So that's the next phase. And then if you back up, we've got multiple other units that are coming online here shortly this year and into next year. Both with the Stables Village, which is up by Wellington and Lincoln Park, Vista Verde 2, which is the one out there on the far end of town there. It's beyond Coin.
Building supply. The
Yeah.
Breck Building Supply roundabout.
Yeah.
Coming online. Then Larkspur is also coming online. That's the first one, kind of going in reverse order. So there are a number of ones that are coming up. So that'll be an interesting conversation. Those are kind of the highlights, if you will. And then they'll have a very brief, the idea is that they're going to be, council will be working most of the day. And so they'll have a brief evening, regular, both work session and a council meeting in the evening, which will involve looking at the East Sawmill lot, which is the lot directly across the river from the South Gondola lot, and what to do with it from a community amenity. Blue River Pathways is the concept there. So how do we make the Blue River corridor and the pathway itself more welcoming? What does that look like in the next, again, 10 years? What are some of the things we want to add to or change in terms of how that sits on the land and how it invites people to linger or to, spend time there. So
Awesome.
That's one of the bigger presentations. And then we have a number of legislative items, I guess really one big one, which is a bit convoluted, but that the Soul Center will, the town will be leasing the roof from them so that we can post solar panels on there.
Oh, nice.
The solar panels you need to have some level of ownership for 10 years to make that happen, to get the grant that we've received. So we will be leasing the roof of the new Soul Center for solar panels, and then we'll get the funding for that. And then we do have an appointment for an election commissioner, and it looks like we are bumping the vacancy from Social Equity Advisory Commission to the next meeting. So that's a bit of a error on that, on the packet there that I wrote. So
Are the applications still open? Or
Mhm.
extended, and we were going to revisit them
Friday.
in Friday.
Well, Friday, yeah, this Friday it'll close and then we will have a subcommittee. So if you want to be part, I think Carol and Jordan and myself, and
Mhm.
due to Jordan's schedule, we'll do 5:30, but we have I think maybe 2 to 3 days, potential dates that we could do some interviews. So if you're available after 5:30 and want to join, let me know.
Then, are there any other upcoming agenda topics?
Is this other matters?
Yeah.
Sorry. I have another matter. Um, okay, so last meeting, we had Simon come in and talk to us, the senior planner, about the comprehensive plan that the county is rolling out to help get feedback from the community about development and, like, just what we want. And they just rolled out their questionnaire, like phase 3 questionnaire. I just wanted to let you guys know that I will be sending that out to you guys, and I really hope you take it. And then if you know anybody in the community, very, very important and valuable. We need the feedback. So we encourage it and take it as many times as you want. It's an anonymous survey. So
I've been pushing those surveys every time I get them to. making
Amazing,
sure
yeah.
people just, spend the 5-10 minutes.
absolutely. Yeah. And it really will be helpful. So just letting you guys know that I'll be sending that out and to please take the survey.
Appreciate it, Todd.
Three quick things, really quick. So we have our happy hour this Thursday, right? Do we need to prep for that? What is our, do we just show up? Do we have an agenda?
This is my first, I have no idea. too.
This is all of our first happy hours,
Okay.
right? We've done coffee
Coffee
talks,
talks.
but no happy hours.
We did come with like sort of prepared, I think Carol sort of officiated the coffee talk.
Yeah.
Maybe the only one,
Yeah, though.
but I just didn't know if I needed to
breakfast.
prepare for anything, or are we just mingling and it's.
Organic.
I would make a small suggestion that you all, introduce what you do. I think some of the people will be your friends and your peers, but it'll be good to see, as many folks there as possible. It'd be good to introduce to the good work that you're doing
Mhm.
and some of the specifics that, talk about the grant program, talk about,
Okay.
10 Mile Pride, talk about things that are pertinent, both long-term and short-term. I feel like that's probably the best way to go. And it seems like those are just conversation starters. I think for the most part, it's getting face time with people. And
Mhm.
so they recognize you for the important role you play. Right. And so now, so they can say, oh, I've met, and then next time I see you on the street, I have some questions or concerns. I feel like that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to do too much formal presentation, but I feel like it's important to introduce yourselves and kind of speak maybe a couple minutes on what you're working on or what you consider to be your accomplishments and what you're looking forward to.
Okay. We did the coffee talks. So if anybody, I don't know if anybody wants to sort of take the lead on, like Carol was that person last time and she kind of organized and, I don't know. Can anybody make it to that?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Be a little late because it's
Be there
4:30 at
4:30.
RMU.
Can you make it?
So I'll be there around 5.
I'm gonna be late.
Okay.
Get out of work early.
Let me see what do I
Hopefully.
have left.
Everybody gets there and then we
Quick
just
powwow.
do a little, hey, who we are, this is what we are.
Yeah.
Okay, second question is, so I was thinking how stressful it is when we get in front of the camera and everybody freaks out and we lose but do we have anybody sort of coming and getting footage of these events so it's more organic and we could use them in videos?
I love that, Lori.
You mean like, can you?
Like B-roll.
But like for social
Like a
media.
reel or
Yeah,
something.
like B-roll.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
like B-roll, yes, if somebody, I mean, I could film or whatever, but it might be more organic that way than putting us in front of a camera and we're deer in headlights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
B-roll is always awesome.
Yeah, so,
More
At the,
organic.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I
at
do
the
have a
events.
friend that, she's, this is a freelance
yeah,
thing, but she can make good B-rolls. So if we don't have a resource for that, I could totally invite her
I mean, and I'm
specifically on
not, like,
Thursday.
I'll try to use my phone.
yeah, if we all maybe just take some video.
Even if we take videos and we
but
can
maybe
send
we
it
need
to
to
her and
talk
she
to
can
Brooke
make it,
about
because I'm
that.
just not good at making them. I'm
Okay.
sure Brooke, I'm sure maybe you can make a B-roll.
Just to like have some.
On that, yeah. We'll have
You can just,
something.
it doesn't have to be professional, it can just be us
Talking
talking.
and
Whoever has a
doing
good
things.
phone, because mine is not a good. camera.
Yeah, just like more video for Brad for when he's working on things like for our commission.
Yeah.
To be able to have us in other settings, not just here, I think would be really cool.
And then the last thing I wanted to say is I think we had ordered some merch.
Yeah, that's here today, I
Oh,
believe.
great. Okay, good.
I was, yeah.
So like, I don't know if we want to wear our stuff to our
I'm
events. or,
definitely
like,
wearing the
get
stuff.
T-shirts that we wear to all the events, or to sort of like staff on the back.
Weren't we
so
going
cool.
to order name badges and business cards?
We were.
We mentioned that, but I don't remember where the needle.
Name
landed
badges
with
would be
that
nice.
Conversation.
I think that was with Matt.
I think those are appropriate
But-
items to wear on our
Yeah.
our stuff or our merch, you know.
I mean, if we have any
Mine is winter
BSEAC
stuff.
swagger, I would definitely wear it. That's that coach tip.
Yeah.
Always market
Or
the
maybe we
brand.
just all have
Always market
T-shirts
the
that we
brand.
can just all wear to every event.
I think that's key. Whenever we're out in the
Yeah.
public, we should very
Long
much
sleeve
be
ones, though.
visible.
Identifiable.
Identifiable. Yep. Oh, there's June with the Breckenridge Social Equity Advisory Commission.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause I always wear my jacket
Not-
to like town cleanup and stuff.
Thank you, Floor.
So yeah.
They
I
won't
plan
be
on
ready for
showing up.
this, but
If I
next
had to.
one.
My red puppy, but
No rush.
And if you did order one, please stay a couple minutes after because we have them.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Floyd. Cool. Hitting the ground running.
If that's all, other matters are all kind of wrapped up.
Can I just really quickly, and this is more of a personal issue, and it came from, I think it was you, Scott, that had mentioned an individual in our community that noticed some of the hate type speech
Oh, yeah.
popping up and such like that. And I just wanted us to be mindful, right? Especially with the election coming up. I actually noticed some of it, not all of it was removed. I noticed some of it about a week and a half ago up on French or Ridge Street. I can't quite recall. But maybe just having an eye towards this summer is going to be really
Popped up
tense.
again.
But yeah, like that, I don't even want to call it that segment of our community, but that population is very much out there.
I understand.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we should just be mindful and aware of that. I hated that, although I am actually happy that it came from a visitor, I think, that initially saw it and reported it. I feel really awesome that people feel comfortable and confident, calling that kind of stuff out. But it,
Gotten the resources to take
right,
a lot
but
of
yeah,
it down.
just be walking my puppy downtown Breckenridge and to see it where it was like, it just doesn't make you feel good.
But I also think it's important to understand that those types of beliefs still exist. So which is why we're here today. So
100%.
thanks for the job security.
That, please let us know. if you
Absolutely.
hear Or see it, just, that's something that we can work hard to eradicate, because it's unnecessary and it's not what we want to see it all in our community. And we don't want anyone to think that's something that we accept.
No.
So
Mhm.
Where should we, if we see it, where do we report it? To Public Works to take it down? To
any of us,
Kyle?
I'd say any staff member would would help with
You've
that.
got it.
But certainly Floor, me, Shannon,
Gotcha.
Public Works, any of the above would be great.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for those continued efforts.
Thank you.
I know there's not a lot of time left, but is there any public comment on anything today or anyone online? Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, babe.
How's everybody doing?
Hi.
My name's Keith. I'm visiting from Atlanta, Georgia. It's definitely a lot different from the city that I live in. Very relaxing. And overall, it's been a nice, inviting vibe. Everybody's been friendly. It's just been good. So y'all keep it up, keep it doing a great job. And the city vibe is cool, it's great.
Oh, thank
I
you
had
so
a good
much.
time.
Thank you.
In my Monday.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who's been a part of today. And I would like to adjourn today's meeting.
Second. We adjourn.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks y'all
everyone.
very much.